Hey, this is March 12th, 2015. Just wanted to congratulate you guys on such a good day. It started off as a slow morning, but by the afternoon, so many students and myself were banking. I ended up the day roughly 4,000. So this is my year-to-date profits now, 46,000, trading with a small account to show you how to grow it. Between these two trades, I bought like 12,000 shares here at like a buck 80. So call it, I don't even know. What is that? 20,000 bucks? Not even. I'm terrible at math. Let me show you. Um, Literally, I can't even do this in my head. Some people think that I'm like this math genius. I'm really not. Trust me. 21,600. Okay, not too bad. And then on this other one, my first buy, I had 15,000 shares times 1.6, 24,000. So between these two, I'm playing with roughly 20,000 at a time, and I'm making 4,000, which was awesome. I also had some misses, SCLN and RESN, basically scratches. Whether I make or lose 100 or 200, I was wrong, but it's all about giving the pattern some time and giving it a chance to play out. So let me talk first about some students. I'm so proud. G. LeBlue, he is a trading challenge student. I gave a 2-hour trading challenge webinar tonight, and he had this comment, and this made me so happy. And he said, finally seeing the patterns by myself without any help, made 80 cents a share on CRMD, shorting from yesterday. Thank you, Tim, for the education. So I shorted CRMD yesterday also. Had a pretty good entry price. I shorted at right around here in the 880s, but I wussed out. I got squeezed, and G. LeBlue did not. And so I'm guessing he shorted in the 880s also, or 870s, and covered somewhere into this mess. So he did better than me, which is awesome. That is what I want for all students. You will find that despite my making $4+ million, I am nowhere near perfect. I screw up all the time. RMGN, though, I nailed pretty nicely. I did not play it here on the first day. This was an earnings winner. A lot of people are asking me, Tim, how do you find all these earnings winners? Do you look for all these companies reporting earnings every day? No. I look for big percent gainers every day. Please, please, please watch my How to Make Millions DVD. It's 35 hours. It's just $297. It all goes to charity. We've raised nearly 400 grand now. Go to howtomakemillions.com, and you will see that I focus purely on percent gainers. But I like to buy percent gainers when they are up due to earnings because they can have legs. They can extend their gains. So on RMGN's earnings winner day, it was up from basically 110 to 160 in the morning. So it's already up 50%, which is awesome. In the afternoon, and I was traveling this day, so I didn't trade it at all. In the afternoon, it went from breakout at 160 all the way up to 195, so another 35 cents a share. I did not trade it, but I warned people when it was in the 180s. I didn't catch the exact top, but I saw it going from the 150s to the 180s. Now at this point, it's up 80% on the day. I said, people, I know you're long. Please, 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 please take profits into this spike. So this was, I copy and paste some messages from the chat room. I think it was right here. Yeah, this was the other day. STRO 16 got into RMGN at 155, out at 180. Could have squeezed more, but learning to take the good is good. Learning to take with the good is good. Maybe I miscopied it. Maybe he mistyped it. Whatever. He made a nice 25 cents a share. That's a cool 15%. Zingster in at 155, out at 177. Here's Latusin in at 155, out at 187. And then this was today. I'm mixing all my chat messages. Today, what is this? DLT Anthony in at 167, out at 190. Growback's $250 profit on the day. And then Eric said, great call on RMGN. I bought at 170, sold at 201. Thanks for the advice with the stock strategies as well. And then there are more from today. Muhammad, I got to give props to him. First trade, bought it at 153, out at whatever, made 276 bucks. JM Mitter made 1,000. he's so good, made 450 on CRMD. Sykes fan made 220. Enigma Trades made 108 bucks on his first trade, signed up less than 24 hours ago. Here's Zinkster 440. Aaron Leal out at 190 in at 173, made 170 bucks, not bad for first trade. So, and here's in at 178, out at 204, making, 10, 15%. I love this one from Drew where he said, could kiss you, buddy. I pared down my account a month ago to 3K. I just cracked back over 10K. So he grew a $3,000 account into 10,000. That's freaking awesome. And then also trading on and off for a month. Smaller account at 5,000 after this morning's trade of AMRN. I have reached $1,000 in profit. So 20% in a month. That is what I'm talking about. So today I was watching it, and I know I'm getting so many emails from you guys. I'm always watching recent earnings winners. If you look at my watch list this morning, this comes out, or actually last night, I'm putting all the stocks that I'm watching, and RMGN was one of them. I said SAS, IFON, CHGG, RMGN, NTRI are other earnings winners I'm still watching for potential dip buys. I'm always watching earnings winners because they tend to break out again on day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. So this was day 1, this was day 2, this was day 3, this was day 4. I don't make the rules. I just recognize the fact that these stocks have legs several days after, especially a small $20 million company like RMGN that has been beaten down big time in the past few years. This was a stock in the teens, and it's kind of sideways, and now you have this massive earnings win because, frankly, they're turning the company around. So if you look at it over a few days, this kind of just looks like gibberish, right? I've been doing this 15 years, and you're like, well, when do you buy? Well, you could try and buy it at the bottom here, 140, 141, 143. Here the bottom is 141, 141. Today it actually made a new low at 138, but for all intents and purposes, it's bottoming at 140. So you can try and catch the low. But I have problems with this because sometimes you try and catch the low and then it just falls off a cliff later on. If you look at IFON, where for several days it's been basing after its earnings win, and 240 was the bottom. I actually bought it, one of these 240s, I don't remember which one, and I sold it at like 250 because it based and it bounced a little bit. Had I timed it perfectly, I could have sold it at like 270 and made 30 cents. But lately it couldn't bounce, and actually just in the last few minutes it cracked support. So I don't really like buying earnings winners right at the bottom. I like to see if they have signs of going higher. And before I even bought, it was spiking. Some people are going to say, oh, it was just trading at 150, then you bought Tim, and then you pushed it up. No, actually, it was already going up. It had already broken out to new day highs before I bought the stock at 160. It had already based higher here at 150, above the former base of 148. So it was kind of in the middle of this range, but my whole goal was that, okay, if it can break the day high at 160, worst case, it doesn't break out anymore and it comes back down to this 152, 153 level and I lose, 7, 8 cents a share on my first buy. But it just kept going. And, the first resistance point really is like 170, 169 right here. That's where it tried to bounce right here and failed. Then you have another resistance point here at 187 and then another one at 197. Any of those, I'm up nicely. If it's at 170, I make 10 cents. If it's at 190-ish here, I make 20 cents. If it's at 2-ish, here, I make 40 cents. No matter what, I'm probably going to win because this stock has been consolidating. That's the beautiful thing about earnings winners. They can consolidate. Remember my earnings win, my dip buy on ZAGG the other day, where I bought it right here at 750-ish, just holding support above the initial earnings spike. I sold it too soon, but this was consolidation, and it just kept going. This one is actually up $1.30 from my buy alert. So these stocks can really go up nicely. RMGN was my big winner. I bought it initially at 160, sold it in the 170s and 180s. Then it consolidated a little bit later today, and I thought, this has a chance to retest 197 and maybe break it. So I rebought at 180, and I sold it like a wuss right around 197, and it just kept going to 206. Now it's back in the 190s. No matter how you slice it, if you want to play it safely like I did, and I had 2 trades where I basically made $2 grand each, if I had just held the entire time. Let's say I just held my 15,000 at 160, and I specifically said my goal is to make 20, 40 cents a share. So it hit my upper end of my goal. If I had made the 40 cents a share on 15,000 shares, that's pretty good money. That's $6,000. Instead, I played it too safely, as I usually do. And that is fine. Let me talk about the two stocks that I traded, and they were scratches. You'll see this a lot of times. People get confused because they see, hey, wait, Tim, you're up 4.3 million now. Why do you even care about making $97 or $200? I don't. I don't know which stocks are going to be home runs, which stocks are going to be singles, which stocks are going to be near misses. I'm not going to have any huge losses if I stick to my rules about cutting losses quickly. But sometimes I'm just wrong, and sometimes I'm wrong about the timing. So RESN, I was short overnight right in here in the 970s, thinking that this was a big earnings miss. They had some really negative language in the PR, basically saying that their one customer, they failed to deliver the product as requested. So pretty bad news. Tried to bounce. Two more exposés came out, Seeking Alpha and Street Sweeper, and my idea was shorting this overnight around 970, 975, thinking that it was going to panic and take out 960 lows, and then maybe it go to 9, maybe even 8. I don't know how big of a panic, but I like the idea of that, the fact that it was crashing and it couldn't bounce and it was just closing right at its lows yesterday. We did get a little bit of a panic down to 9, but it didn't happen until like 11:30 a.m. That wasn't on my timeline, okay? It took too long to break down, and as it turned out, it actually had a nice $1.50 a share so far of bounce. So I got out. I was short in like the 970s, and I covered like in the 960s. That's a scratch, okay? I was on the right path, but whether I make or lose 50 or 100 or 200 bucks, it didn't do the big panic that I wanted. If it went straight to $9 a share right at the open, I would have been happy and I would have made $1,000. So when you see a small trade, it's not because I care about that. It's because it didn't do what I wanted and I got out. When in doubt, get out. I live by that rule. Also, I was long SCLN. SCLN was an earnings winner this morning. I said it right at the market open. You can see here the previous highs were like 905, 910. So I was watching it at the open today at 9. And I said this in the chat room. I said, watch SCLN potential earnings winner buy. And within like literally 4 minutes, it went from 9 to 940. And I was like, damn, missed it. Even as I was typing my little commentary, it was spiking. That's how quickly earnings winners can spike in the morning. The good news is it came down to the teens, and I said, you know what? This can easily go back to the highs of 940, maybe even more, 950, 960, 970. I don't know how high it can go. I specifically took a small position because it's not a volatile stock, as I said. 2,000 shares, bought it in the teens here, like 918. Probably could have gotten a few cents a share better, but if I was right, it doesn't matter if I'm in at 918 or 915. It did go up, but again, not until like 11 a.m. And when it was choppy in here at like 9:30, I just wasn't sure if it could break 940. So I got out and I made 10 cents a share. So on RESN, I think I might have made like 5 cents a share. On SCLN, I made like 10 cents a share. In both cases, I coulda, woulda, shoulda made 60 cents if I timed it perfectly, but I'm not going to time anything perfectly ever. That is the secret to my success. I trade pretty well, but nowhere do I ever time things perfectly. And that's why, my success is so replicable, because I'm not showing you best case scenario. I didn't make $4.3 million by being perfect. I made $4.3 million by being very imperfect, but having the right idea about a stock. Buying earnings winners like SCLN on breakouts, dip buying earnings winners like RMGN when it looks like they can really spike again, and short selling sketchy stocks like RESN or other pump and dumps that I short. So that's it. I keep it simple. I know that there's a lot of different strategies out there, but what I find simple works best. Looking to buy breakouts, looking to buy stocks that hold technical support and look like they can, have an inflection point like RMGN did. I'm so proud of all of my students. It's not just about my $4,000 in gains today. Zingster, Latusin, Eric Moron, Growlbox, DLT Anthony, Jordo, Drew James, Aaron Leal. I think I might have put Zingster twice. Enigma Trades, Sykes fan, he's so good. MJ Mitter, Muhammad Khan, Gary LeBlue. All of you guys, congrats. You know, if you make 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 at a time, you're understanding how to bank. And do this again and again, cut losses quickly. Within a few years, you will be my next millionaire student, and I'll be even happier. Thank you guys. Have a good night.